Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. If you're a strong woman, life didn't pamper you, it tested you, it crushed you, it isolated you. You've sat in silence when you wanted to scream. You've smiled through pain so deep it felt like your heart was bleeding. And people called it strength, but they didn't know what it cost you. But hear this clearly. What you went through was not a curse. It was preparation. Because when life took everything from you, it was only making room for what's about to come. And if you turn this off now, you'll miss the one truth that explains every silent battle, every lonely night, every time you had to be your own shoulder to cry on. Okay, listen to this till the end. Because what I'm about to reveal is the gift that life only gives to a woman who refuses to break. Strength, it's not something that's handed to you on a silver platter. It's not a compliment someone gives when they see you smile through your pain. No, real strength is built in silence, behind closed doors, when nobody is watching and nobody is clapping. World thinks strong women are born, that somehow she just came into this world fierce, bold, unshakable. But that's a lie. Strength is not something you inherit. You don't wake up one day powerful. You become powerful because you had no choice but to survive when it felt like the world was trying to bury you. A strong woman doesn't walk into strength. She walks through storms to get there. Storms that break average people. Storms that leave others begging for help. But not her. She walks with her back straight and her eyes forward, not because she doesn't feel pain, but because she learned how to carry it without letting it weigh down her soul. She didn't get strong from comfort. She got strong from conflict, from disappointment, from betrayal, from nights when her pillow soaked up every tear she refused to cry in front of others. Her strength wasn't shaped by love. It was shaped by loss. It was shaped by letting go of people she wanted to keep, by forgiving people who never apologized, by choosing peace over revenge. Didn't ask to be strong, she was forced to be. Life handed her trials, and every time she got back up, stronger, wiser, more unshakable than before. And make no mistake, she didn't just survive, she transformed, she evolved, she became someone no one could manipulate again, no one could lie to again, no one could walk all over again. They say pressure makes diamonds, but pressure also reveals who's real and who's temporary. And when she started seeing the truth, that's when her real power kicked in. She realized not everyone could come with her. Not everyone deserved her time, her kindness, her energy. She learned how to walk alone, not because she wanted to, but because she refused to walk with people who didn't walk with her when she needed them most. She stopped waiting for someone to save her. She became her own rescue. She stopped looking for someone to validate her. She learned that her worth wasn't tied to who loves her, but how deeply she loves herself. That's when the shift happened. That's when she moved from surviving to standing, from breaking to building. And the truth is, strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, "I'll try again tomorrow." Sometimes it looks like setting boundaries. Sometimes it looks like deleting a number you used to cry over. Sometimes it looks like choosing silence over explaining yourself. And sometimes it's just waking up and deciding, I won't fold today. This kind of strength, it scares people because they can't control it, they can't guilt it, they can't manipulate it. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need a spotlight. It just is. quiet, solid, unshakable. A strong woman doesn't argue anymore. She observes. She doesn't chase anymore. She attracts. She doesn't beg anymore. She lets go and lets life do the filtering. But don't get it twisted. Being strong doesn't mean she's never tired. It doesn't mean she doesn't wish sometimes that someone would take the weight off her shoulders. But it does mean she'll never let the weight break her. She may bend, but she will never fold, because what's inside her is greater than what's around her. Strength isn't about pretending to be okay. It's about being real, raw, and still standing tall in the face of everything that tried to tear you down. And that strength, that quiet, sacred, undeniable strength, it's not a gift she was given. It's a legacy she built. Through every no, every door closed in her face, every time she chose to keep going when no one believed in her, not even herself. It's easy to talk about strength. It's easy to admire it from afar. But until you've been through what she's been through, don't question why she moves the way she moves. Don't question why she's cautious, why she's selective, why she's guarded. You weren't there when she had to rebuild herself with nothing but faith and a fragile heart. You didn't see the moments when she was shattered and still chose to show up, chose to fight, chose to smile. That kind of strength, it's holy, it's sacred, it's earned. So when you see a woman like that, who's calm, focused, silent, unapologetic, understand this. You're looking at someone who paid for that peace with pain, who earned that strength with scars. You're looking at someone who didn't just go through the fire, she became it. Strength isn't given, it's built, brick by brick, battle by battle, tear by tear. That is why she's untouchable. Pain. That's the part nobody wants to talk about. That's the part people want to skip over like it's some unnecessary chapter in a book they didn't ask to read. But let me tell you something, for a strong woman, pain wasn't the end, it was the beginning. It wasn't meant to destroy her. It was the very tool life used to shape her. See, when the pain first came, she didn't understand it. It hit her like a storm she didn't see coming. It shook the ground beneath her feet. It stole her breath, her joy, her peace. She questioned everything. Why me? Why now? Why this? But what she didn't know then was that pain had a purpose, a mission, not to ruin her, but to reveal her. Because the strongest parts of her didn't come from love. They came from loss. They came from silence. They came from nights where she cried so quietly that no one even knew she was breaking. Her strength was born in the moments nobody saw. The private battles, the silent heartbreaks, the times she showed up when everything inside her told her to stay in bed and disappear. Life has a cruel way of building masterpieces. It doesn't use comfort, it uses fire, and she was thrown into it. But instead of burning up, she rose. Instead of crumbling, she started constructing something inside herself, something real, something unshakable. She didn't run from the pain. She sat in it, faced it, felt every inch of it. And then she learned from it. The people who left, that hurt. But they taught her not to rely on temporary hands to hold permanent wounds. The love that turned cold, that was pain too. But it taught her not to mistake chemistry for commitment. The betrayal, the lies, the fake smiles, the manipulation, all of it cut deep. but every scar became part of her armor. She didn't just survive the pain, she used it. She let it teach her, mold her, strengthen her. It taught her patience when she wanted answers. It taught her self-worth when she realized who she kept giving chances to. It taught her boundaries when she saw how far people would go if she didn't draw the line. Pain showed her what peace felt like, because she had to live without it for so long. It made her value silence because she knew the sound of chaos all too well. And the beautiful thing is, the very thing that almost broke her became the reason she will never be broken again. She walks differently now. Talk to her now and you'll feel it. That quiet strength, that fire behind her eyes. Not loud, not arrogant, just certain. She's not easily shaken anymore. Why? Because she's already been through the kind of pain that made her question her own reflection. She's already had to rebuild from rubble. What can scare her now? People wonder why she's so calm, so cold even. But she's not cold. She's just guarded. And she has every right to be. When you've been burned by the very people you warmed with your love, you learn to protect your flame. You learn to stop pouring yourself into those who only show up when they need to drink. Pain taught her the value of saying no, the strength in walking away, the dignity in choosing herself, even if it meant being alone. Because through all the pain, she discovered something sacred, herself, her voice, her intuition, her spirit. And that's what the pain came to do, not to kill her spirit, but to wake it up, to shake her out of illusions, to strip her of people and patterns that no longer served her. It came to break her open, not down. And through that process, she realized that pain wasn't the enemy, it was the mirror. It reflected back what needed to change, what needed to go. So the next time you see a strong woman and you think she's just tough, just hardened, just distant, remember this. You're not looking at someone who had it easy. You're looking at someone who had it hard, but refused to let it harden her heart. You're looking at someone who found clarity in chaos, grace in grief, and purpose in pain. She didn't ask for the pain, but she didn't run from it either. She didn't drown, she learned to swim. And now she walks through life with a different kind of confidence. Not because everything's perfect, but because she knows whatever tries to hurt her again has no idea who it's messing with. Because what pain intended to break her only ended up building her into something unshakable, something rare, something powerful. And that is the real gift life gives to a strong woman who refuses to stay broken. There comes a moment in a woman's life when she stops chasing, stops begging, stops trying to prove her worth to people who are blind to it. That moment, it's not loud. It doesn't come with fireworks. It's quiet. It's sacred. It comes after disappointment, after exhaustion, after realizing that chasing love, attention, validation, it's not her purpose. It's a distraction from it. A strong woman knows now she doesn't chase what she attracts. She is the magnet. She's not walking around trying to force connections. She's not out here twisting herself into someone else's ideal version just to be chosen. She's done shrinking, done lowering her voice, done over-explaining herself to people committed to misunderstanding her. Because when you know who you are, truly deeply, something inside you shifts. You stop needing people to choose you. You start choosing yourself. You stop running after what isn't rooted in truth, peace, and respect. You stop putting your worth on sale for people who wouldn't pay full price if their life depended on it. She chased love that felt like it might finally fill the void. She chased attention, hoping it would validate the effort she was pouring out. She chased apologies that never came, closure that never arrived. She chased answers to questions that only left her more confused. But one day, one quiet, powerful day, she looked in the mirror and realized, I don't have to chase anyone or anything, because what's mine is drawn to me, not because I chase it, but because I've become it. That's the truth. People don't want to hear. When you step into your power, when you stop chasing, when you start becoming, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And she became peace. She became purpose. She became standards. And guess what? That scared people. It pushed the wrong ones away, and she let them go. Because now she knows real connections don't need force. Real love doesn't run from truth. Real people don't make you feel like you're too much for simply being whole. She stopped showing up to battles that weren't worth her energy. Stopped picking up phones for conversations that only drained her. Stopped explaining herself to people who only listen to respond, not understand. Because the energy she used to waste on chasing, she now invests in building, in healing, in protecting her peace. That doesn't mean she's cold, it means she's conscious. It means she finally realized her presence is a privilege. Not everyone gets access. Not everyone deserves a seat at her table. Because when you've poured from an empty cup for too long, eventually you learn to drink first. She's not moved by shiny promises anymore. She's not impressed by sweet words that don't align with real actions. Her soul is too seasoned for shallow connections, too deep for surface-level people. She's learned that it's better to walk alone than to run after people who don't see her value. When she stopped chasing, she started attracting, not just people, but peace, purpose, alignment, growth. She began to attract people who recognized her energy, not tried to exploit it. People who didn't compete with her, but honored her. People who saw her not as something to conquer, but something to protect. She started attracting opportunities that matched her focus, environments that fed her soul, not her insecurities, conversations that brought clarity, not confusion. When she stopped chasing things that didn't fit, she made room for what did. But here's the thing, they'll call her different now. Distant. They'll say she's changed. And they're right, she has changed. She's no longer emotionally available to chaos. She's no longer waiting on the sidelines for people to wake up and see her worth. She's no longer giving her heart to people who treat it like an option. That change, it didn't come easy. It came from lessons, from growth. When she enters a room, she doesn't need to announce herself. Her energy speaks. Her peace speaks. Her absence, even louder, because she's no longer trying to prove anything to anybody. She just is. a woman in her fullness, in her strength, in her divine rhythm. She doesn't run after the things she used to beg for. She lets them go. And in letting go, she discovered something profound. What's truly meant for her doesn't need to be chased. It will recognize her, it will stay, it will rise to meet her. So to the woman listening right now, hear me when I say, stop chasing. Let the things that are not aligned with your soul fall away. The love that doesn't nourish you, the people who don't respect you, the attention that comes at the cost of your peace, release it. Step back, reclaim your energy, because your value isn't in how fast you run after something. It's in how calmly you sit in your power and let what's real rise to meet you. She doesn't chase anymore. She attracts. She finally knows. She is the prize. People will look at her and say she's different now. They'll whisper, she's changed, as if change is a crime. What they don't understand is this: she's not broken, she's becoming. There's a difference. The world has this habit of labeling a woman who rises from her pain as damaged. They don't see the fight behind her silence. They don't see the courage it takes to get out of bed when your soul is tired. They don't recognize what it means to hold yourself together when everything inside you wants to fall apart. They call that broken? No, that's becoming. She's evolving, unfolding, and that process is never pretty. Growth never is. Healing isn't glamorous. It's gritty. It's lonely. It's full of days where you're crying and nobody knows. Full of nights where you're facing your demons with no spotlight, no applause, no one cheering you on, just raw determination and a quiet prayer that says, let me survive this. You want to talk strength? Let's talk about a woman who's been through emotional hell, but still wakes up with kindness in her heart. Let's talk about a woman who's been left, lied to, overlooked, but still believes there's something good out there for her. Let's talk about a woman who's been judged by her worst moments, but refuses to be defined by them. That's not weakness. That's a woman in the fire, being forged. They think she's cold because she's cautious. They think she's distant because she's focused. What they miss is that she's rebuilding, piece by piece, brick by brick, day by day. She's not who she used to be, and she's not who she's going to be either. She's in the in-between, the sacred place of becoming. It's easy to feel alone because growth requires separation. Separation from the noise, from the crowd, from the distractions, from the parts of you that once settled, once begged, once tolerated things that didn't honor your soul. She's not isolating herself out of fear. She's protecting her peace like it's the last match in a dark room, because it is. Don't mistake her stillness for stagnation. Don't confuse her silence for weakness. She's not broken. She's under construction. And what's being built within her can't be rushed. It can't be explained to people who haven't lived her pain. She's learning that not everyone deserves access to her process. Some people only want to peek in to gossip, not understand. She doesn't owe anyone a blueprint for her healing. She's shedding layers, expectations, guilt, shame, the lies she believed about herself. She's confronting truths that once terrified her. standing face to face with the broken girl inside, and instead of running, she's embracing her, saying, "You don't have to be strong all the time. You don't have to pretend anymore. You are safe now." She's not chasing perfection anymore. She's embracing progress. And that shift, that's what makes her powerful. She's no longer trying to fix herself to be loved. She's learning to love herself as she heals. That love, it's unconditional. It's the kind of love that says, even when you're tired, you're worthy. Even when you're messy, you're beautiful. Even when you're unsure, you are enough. She's rewriting her story one chapter at a time, and maybe the pages are still tear-stained. Maybe the words are shaky, but she's writing it in her own voice now. Not the voice of pain, not the voice of fear, but the voice of power, the voice of truth. She's not bitter, she's better. Not because life's been kind, but because she refused to let it harden her. She took the pieces of what broke her and built boundaries, built clarity, built wisdom. She doesn't walk with anger in her heart. She walks with purpose in her step. That's what happens when you stop being ashamed of your wounds and start understanding their wisdom. So when someone looks at her and says she's different now, they're right, she is different. She's not as soft with people who don't value her. She's not as accessible to those who drain her. She's not available for chaos, drama, or disrespect. That version of her died in the fire she walked through. And what rose from the ashes? A woman who finally understands her worth. She's not broken, she's becoming. Becoming the version of herself she used to dream about, the one who doesn't settle, the one who trusts her intuition, the one who no longer dims her light just to make others comfortable. Her smile might be quieter now, her laugh a little softer, but her spirit, it's louder than ever. You can feel it when she walks in a room. This is a woman who's been through storms, but learned how to dance in the rain. A woman who's been through darkness, but chose to be the light. She's still healing, still growing, still becoming. And that journey, it's sacred, it's divine. And if you're watching her from the sidelines, don't mistake her evolution for a breakdown. She's not falling apart, she's falling into place. The world doesn't need her to be perfect. It needs her to be real, and she is. Fully, authentically, unapologetically. She's not broken, she's becoming. And there's no force more unstoppable than that. Loneliness is not always a punishment. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes it's preparation. And for a strong woman, loneliness is not emptiness. It's sacred. Because in that silence, something real begins to grow. Something that can't be found in